Hi friends, welcome back to the channel. Today I want to talk about new age stuff, okay? I don't even know where to begin in this video, so I'm just gonna pour out and see what happens here. I believe that the Lord is with us because I'm having a good hair day today. So I feel like that's pretty good evidence right there. This is my dog Belle. Oh, this is my Chihuahua Belle. She's growling at her little sister. Let's get into it. Okay, so I am a Christian. I am absolutely in love with Jesus Christ, okay? And I'm going to scream it all over YouTube and all over everywhere. So I want to let you know that I'm going to be giving you a Christian perspective, but I was somebody who once was very new age, very much into the occult, did not believe that Jesus Christ was God, like believed that I was my own God, believed in the universe, all of these different things, and I tried to find answers to life in those things, and I tried to find answers to myself in those things. But I know that a lot of us choose that, and we choose to go down that road because we're looking for answers about life. I see people doing it all the time, and that's what happened to me. Like, I was looking for answers about God. I was looking for God. And so far, when I had tried to find God in Christianity, half-heartedly, okay, it was a confusing period. I talked about it in my testimony if you want to watch that. But I felt like I didn't understand God, and I felt like the church didn't understand God, and like I was looking for answers on supernatural things, on the evil of this world, answers on myself, answers on my purpose, and I just wasn't, I hadn't found that anywhere else until I met people that were into this like new age spirituality stuff, and they started to tell me all these crazy things, and honestly it taught me a lot. Like, I'm not going to sit here and say that new age was the absolute worst thing that ever happened to me, because I think because of it I learned how to go really deep and ask these like really deep foundational like spiritual questions about life. And when I came back to Christianity, and when God pulled me back, you know, from out of those dark ugly pits that I had gotten myself into, I was then able to find the answers in Christ that I had been looking for elsewhere. So new age to me, it's an umbrella term. It's like the law of attraction, the universe, tarot cards, astrology, witchcraft, like all that can be kind of considered. Buddhism, like just personal development and personal like ascension, I don't know, reincarnation, all that stuff. It could all be classified as new age, and for me, I like looked into all of it. I wanted to know all the answers, okay? I would like to read you right now Genesis chapter 3 verse 4. We're talking about Eve and the serpent. I want to read you what he says to her, and if you're somebody who's familiar with new age, if you walked it yourself, if you're coming out of it, I really want you to think about what this verse is saying and what this new age culture is offering. So we're back in the garden. I'm sure we all know the story, right? The serpent says to Eve, "Certainly you will not die, for God knows that when you eat from it, the fruit, your eyes will be opened, and you will be like God, knowing good and evil." When the woman saw that the fruit of the tree was good for food and pleasing to the eye, and also desirable for gaining wisdom, she took some and ate it. Right? She also gave some to Adam, and then their eyes were opened. In this very first line here, "Certainly you will not die," let's address the fact that these people, Adam and Eve, had been told that there is a God. There is one God. It's God, okay? In our case, we call him Jesus, but there is, let's just say Jesus, okay? And that's your God, and that is total life. That's who created you. That's your truth, Jesus, okay? This is what Adam and Eve were told from the moment they were born or created, right? They were also told that there is a tree of knowledge of good and evil, and if they ate of it, they would die. Okay, this is a tree of death. This is a tree that they do not need. They have everything else they need in God. Do not touch this tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Now, the serpent comes along, and he says, "Certainly you will not die if you eat from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. Your eyes will be opened, and you will be like God, knowing good and evil." Now, if we read the Bible, it says that Adam and Eve were created in the image of God, so they were already like God. But the serpent is saying, because you can't choose and you can't have every single thing on this on this Eden, in this planet, then that means that God is withholding something good from you. And when you eat of this forbidden thing, you will now have the knowledge of good and evil. I personally like to translate that as the choice of good and evil, the ability to choose good and evil for yourself, right? Because ultimately, God tells us we need to submit to him. And if he says something is good, then it's good. If he says something is evil, then it's evil. And that's that. We can't argue with it. We can't choose for ourselves what we think is good and what we think is evil. Okay? So the serpent is saying, no, like actually when you eat of this tree, you're going to have this freedom. You're going to have this new knowledge, and you'll be able to decide good and evil for yourself. He also says, certainly you will not die. And it says that Eve saw that the tree was good for food. So think of that as like fulfilling. Think of this as kind of like symbolism. So it was good for food. It was fulfilling. Like this was going to fulfill her and satisfy her hunger. Like obviously she wasn't hungry. She lived in Eden. So I think what it's saying when it says this tree was good for food is that like there was something that she wanted to fulfill, right? And pleasing to the eye and desirable for gaining wisdom. So when we look at New Age, it's pretty much telling us the same thing. Like certainly there is more life outside of Jesus, okay? And when you walk down this path, your eyes will be open to these new ways to experience God, these new ways to experience the universe, the whole world, these new ways to gain wisdom and gain power for yourself, right? Isn't that what we're looking for when we're going through New Age? We're looking for ways to understand the world around us. We're looking for ways to tap into the supernatural, ways to be smarter, right? A lot of these like New Age books also are disguised as like personal development books. You see a lot of New Age stuff like law of attraction, manifestation, deep meditations. Those all also like conveniently coincide with this like entrepreneurship, success, like wealth culture, materialistic culture, right? You kind of see like, it's like you're being offered, you know, this desirable food, like this desirable life, but you do it outside of God. And when you practice anything New Age, even if it's just in a minor way, the deeper you go down these rabbit holes, the more you are taking the power away from God. So now you're starting to be like, okay, I'm looking for wisdom. And maybe if you don't jump in head first, like, oh, I denounce Jesus and I'm my own God, like maybe you don't jump in head first that way, but you're starting to be like, oh, well, let me see like if I can make my life better by using crystals, or make my life better by using tarot, or make my life better by using astrology, which these are all things that the Bible very clearly calls witchcraft, in case you didn't know, because it's just a manipulation. And it's kind of like, even if you're not saying it with your words, in your heart and in your belief system, you're now putting your faith into something else to make your life good and to fulfill your life. And as a Christian, I know that only Jesus can do that. There's nothing else that I can do that will give me understanding, give me perspective, give me purpose, and fulfill my life. Just for example, let's say you pick up astrology and you really start to get into it. Now you're kind of giving yourself this lens of life. You think you have this knowledge, right? That's going to help you understand people better, understand the world better, even protect yourself, right? You don't want to be around these types of signs because they do this or they do that. Like now you're starting to kind of put this spirit onto other people, and you put this spirit onto yourself as well. Like astrology is so evil because it gives you identity that is not rooted in Christ, and it also tricks you into giving other people these identities too. And it's kind of like that theory of, let's say you like get obsessed with this new type of car and you really want it, and you want it in this color, and now all of a sudden you start noticing these cars everywhere, and it's just because you've put it in your brain. It's not like there's thousands more of these cars on the road now from this point forward. No, it's the same amount of cars that have always been on the road, but now you're just starting to notice things because you put this idea in your head. So same thing with astrology. Like whenever you say, oh, I'm this sign, you're now reading, like you're getting super deep into this sign, right, of what this sign does and how it feels and what it thinks, how it acts, whatever. And you start seeing that in your life. And when you meet somebody else with a certain sign, you're going to now start looking for all these different things. You start to come into agreement with these things, and they just take away your faith from God. Same thing with like crystals. Let's say you get real into crystals. Now you're using these crystals to find love. You're not putting your faith in God to lead you. You're not looking for what God tells you is right. You're looking for what's working in your little crystal time frame. Like you took a crystal bath, or you drank your attractive tea, right? You drink these herbs that are supposed to make you more vibrant and attractive. You drank those today, so now you're looking for somebody today that's going to be attracted to you. Like, instead of just having faith in God and allowing things to happen, and it's just a slippery slope that keeps going and keeps going. The more things you get into, the more it just leads you deeper and darker down this path. When it comes to the law of attraction, like, you're trying to manifest all these different things in your life, and these are called half truths. So like, the Bible does talk about how you need to have a vision, you need to have plans in your life. You know, you can't just wake up every day and think that God's going to take you somewhere special. Like, you have to have some sort of plan and some sort of motion going on in your life, and that is a good thing, but you always have to submit it to God. That's the one thing that Christianity tells you. Your partner, you submit to God. Your career, you submit to God. Your plans, you submit to God. Your feelings, you submit to God, because God knows what's best. He's going to tell you if it's okay to be angry and upset in this situation. He's going to tell you if it's okay to date this person, if it's okay to do these certain acts with this person, if it's okay to do these things for the sake of your career. God tells you what is right and wrong. And when we take that power away from him and we start to try to understand things ourselves and do everything on our own understanding of what we think is right or wrong, what we think is the correct time frame, what we think is true connecting with another person or the world around us, like, we take that power away from God. And the more you do that, the more you end up in this like gray area, and you're gonna get confused, and it's not gonna fulfill you. Like, I did that. I got to the point where I was so far over here and so far away from God that I literally thought God was a joke. And I thought that people that believed in Christianity were so blind and so closed off to the true power of the world. But my power over here, all these things that I thought was going to happen because I was, you know, doing this meditation work, doing this energetic work, putting my faith in astrology and whatever else, I found myself feeling so empty, so confused. When things didn't go my way, it was my fault. And it made me feel bad about myself, honestly, because why wasn't I able to manifest these things that I was trying to manifest, that everybody says you can just manifest it if you just work a little harder, do a little more. My understanding had failed me, my relationships with people had failed me. Like, I had just gotten so lost and so numb, and I had seen so much bad as well, that I had started to lose hope in everything. Like, originally I was searching for God. I was searching for this enlightenment, this higher state, and it showed me like more darkness than I had ever seen in my entire life. Like, and I felt more secluded from God than, because when you're your own God, who can you rely on except for yourself? You know, who can you blame except for yourself? Everything comes down to you, and that is such a lonely, isolating perspective, because when things start to go wrong, because we're human beings, and it's true that there's a God that says what is right or wrong, and if we don't do these things, we're going to end up in bad places. So the more you walk down this new age place, the more empty, the more lost, the more wrong you're just going to be, and the worse you're going to feel, because you're separating yourself so far from God, and you're making the wrong choices. If you're not submitting to God, you're making the wrong choices. So even if it seems like it's going right for some people, which it will, I threw myself into the like wealth materialism culture, and I met people that were on Instagram doing amazing. Like, they had so much money, they had the cars, the yachts, the trips, the people in their lives, the glamour, it all seemed so great. And then when I met these people in person and I spent time with them, you could see how warped their thinking was too, how they didn't value people, how their personal like romantic relationships were just about using people and judging people based off of like these stupid materialistic things. Like, you realize it's so empty and it's so dark at the end of those books, at the end of that story, you know, those new age stories. And I could go into detail about these little things of each of them, why crystals don't work, why energetic healing isn't going to heal you, why astrology is evil. Like, astrology is one of the most evil things, and people act like it's nothing because they haven't read the end of the book. But if you go deep into those topics, like really go into them, it's just all bad, okay? So you think you're looking for God, and you're just getting more and more isolated and pulled away, and you don't realize it until you just are lost, or you're in bad situations and you're like, how the heck did I get here? And when it comes to the reality of Christianity, if you look at all these different religions of the world, a lot of them, even like the witchy woo-woo type of stuff, will reference Jesus. Jesus is everywhere. It's in the Islam religion. It's in a lot of these like woo-woo religions, like, I don't know, Buddhism and stuff. They're trying to ascend. Like, I learned a lot about Jesus through New Age, honestly, and half of it was wrong, but he just kept coming up for whatever reason, like, because no matter what, like, truth is found in him, and he is, if not God in these religions, he is still an example of like this higher living and this higher presence. So when you actually come to Jesus for what he says he is, for Christianity's perspective on Jesus, who we believe is God in the flesh, you know, God is super big, so grand, this big everything, you know, God cannot be contained in just one person, but he became a person so that he can walk on the earth with us and literally talk with us and tell us what the heck is going on. So much more than just religion, right? Like the true words of Jesus. If we look at what he is and what he stands for, it fulfills our heart at the deepest levels. It fulfills the love that we're looking for, the love for others that we crave. It gives us answers as to who we are, why we exist, where we come from. Like, Christianity is not, the Bible is not a religious book, okay? The Bible is this true story of life. Like, from the beginning, there was God. God said, let there be light. The whole world was created. Human beings were created. Like, the Bible tells you what it means for everything to be alive, why things exist. Like, it is so telling if you go in depth in it. If you just look towards the church, you might miss it. But if you take on the Bible and Christianity and Jesus Christ for yourself, like, it will give you all of the answers that you were looking for, and you will not be confused, and you will not be lacking anything. And yes, you will have to submit to God, because God knows everything, okay? We can only see what we know from our very short lives, but the world is so much bigger, you know. There's such a wide past, there's such a wide future that we will never be able to see in this human body. Therefore, that's why we can't be our own gods, because we can't see everything that's happening in the world at once, and we can't see what happens when we make a small sin. Like, one small sin has such a ripple effect throughout the whole world, throughout generations, like, and we just have no concept of how big that is, but God does. That's why we submit ourselves to him. And in doing that, in dying to my own understanding and my own thoughts and submitting to God, is when I really found truth and found enlightenment. So that's why I think New Age is a bunch of bull, okay? It's a bunch of crap. And it's just going to leave you empty and asking even more questions. And if you would consider Jesus, I encourage you to just pray a small prayer like, hey, if you are the true God, reveal yourself to me. Come to me and show me the truth. If you are the true God, I am open to receive you if you are the truth, because I want the truth. And that's all you have to say, okay? I pray that you pray that prayer and you keep your heart open. That's what you're actually looking for. You're looking for the true God. You're looking for true meaning in your life. You're looking for true answers and true interaction with the spiritual world. Like, that is one thing I commend about New Age people, is they're 10 times more likely to be all spiritual woo-woo than Christians are. And Christians, well, a lot of Christians, I guess. Not so much, though. I feel like the tides are really turning in Christianity, because, or maybe it's always been there. I think even as Christians, like, there's this idea of like, okay, go to church and be like this little church person, or be a true Christian, and that's something that we have to choose. And I choose true Christianity, okay? I want to get into all the weird stuff, okay? I want to scream Jesus on the mountaintop, okay? I want to stand on it like nothing before. I want to wait till marriage. I want to do all the stuff that the Bible tells you not to do, you know. I want to not do that. I want to cast out demons, heal the sick, stop listening to evil music, all of it, okay? I want true Christianity. This video may have taken a turn. I'm sorry if nothing I'm saying is making sense. Hopefully it does. I really just want to say, like, all this new age stuff is the original sin. It's the original trick from the devil, and I don't want you to get deceived like I got deceived, like many get deceived. I don't want you to get led astray, and I want you to know that you can trust Jesus, and I want you to know that you will never be able to love yourself as much as God loves you. Like, there's so much love that you will never understand until you sit at the feet of Jesus and you come to Jesus. Like, you'll never be able to glorify yourself enough, build enough self-worth, have enough things, be calm enough, present enough, meditate enough. You'll never be able to do enough. And that's the one thing that I think New Age leads us down, is like, we keep thinking if we just do a little bit more, go a little bit deeper, try a little bit harder, manifest even more, make a bigger vision board, like, we're gonna finally come to this place where we feel fulfilled and loved and worthy. And it's a constant, like, trap and a deceit. Like, it's a lie, it's a trick. But when you sit at the feet of Jesus, all of the things that you're truly wanting are going to come alive inside of you. His love is going to wash over you. Seek first the kingdom of God, and all else will be added to you. And I can say firsthand, it is so true. Like, do I own everything in the world? No. Do I have a giant yacht and a private airplane and a Tesla 9000? I just made that up. But, you know, like, no, I don't own all these, like, materialistic things that I sometimes desire. But I have a feeling and a power of love and knowing who I am that surpasses all of that. Like, what good is it to gain the whole world and lose your soul? To live is Christ. Like, all these Bible verses are just so true, and New Age tries to steal that from you, this, like, this religious New Age stuff, which it's a religion just like anything else. I mean, it doesn't maybe have, like, the same format. People walk down it in different ways and they do different, like, styles, but it still taps into this, like, religious spiritual stuff. And if you're looking for spiritual fulfillment, you will only find it in Jesus, okay? And it is so good, and he's gonna love you like you've never been loved before, okay? And he's going to care for you way more than you could ever care for yourself. And he's going to teach you so much bigger understanding than you could ever try to seek out on your own. Okay, and it's all just in one book. You don't got to keep reading brand new books, going to seminars, trying new techniques, new meditation, new energy healing. Like, no, you can put it all down. You can be healed by Jesus. You can be loved by Jesus. You could be taught and led by Jesus, cared for by Jesus. All of it is in Jesus, okay? Yes, Lord. Say hi, Pepsi. And Pepper is also a Jesus follower, so if you want to be gang with me and Pepsi, you have no other choice. Follow Jesus right now. I'm just kidding, but seriously, ask him to come into your life. And show him, like, if you're confused, just ask him to come into your life and show you the truth, show you what's up, because he will, and he wants to, and he loves you, and he created you, and you are so special, and you know how special you are. And all these things that you think you're going to accomplish in New Age, I bet when you finally come to Jesus and you heal, he's going to use those things, these deep desires, these deep treasures that are buried inside of you. He's going to use those things for greatness, okay? But you're never gonna find it on your own accord, okay? I just wanted to say that. Be a Christian, okay? What else can I say? Thank you guys so much for watching. I love you. This was fun. This was good, right? Okay, talk to you later. Bye.